Hey guys, baseball season is over, but we are easing the pain of that by talking about the MLB draft coming up. I got the perfect guy to discuss all of this with me. Of course, it's Mike Hardball Hardge. Hardge, you were drafted in the second round by the Montreal Expos. Throwback.
Very throwback.
Very throwback. And so you're the perfect guy to discuss all of this with us. But before we even get into the Texas players that we're going to talk about, from your perspective, I mean, if you could give these guys a piece of advice before they get their name called, what would it be?
Just enjoy the ride. You've already put in all the work. There's a reason why you're eligible to be in this position. And just take your time with it, because every time you get the chance to hear your name called, it's a special, special moment. Not everybody gets these opportunities. You've been playing it since you were a little kid. You know the time and the effort that you put into it. Now just enjoy it.
Love that. And there are going to be a bunch of Longhorns who will hear their names called, but we're going to focus on the three that landed themselves in the MLB Top 100 prospects. So let's start with the guy who we think will hear his name first. It's Aiden Robbins, the Seton Hall standout turned SEC newcomer of the year. Hardge, when I was thinking about questions to ask about Aiden, I couldn't think of any weaknesses to ask about. He's just that strong of a player. So my question to you is, what is his upside?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you look at the talent that he got a chance to display here at the University of Texas. This is a guy that, when he got here, he was talking about the fact that he gets to play in front of a lot of people. He hadn't had that opportunity, then he made the most of that. But what his upside is, the ability to hit the ball the other way. I've been saying it since you and I have been doing this Longhorn segment. It's all about being able to hit the ball the other way and show the power that he has. He got a chance to show some speed, but more importantly, he got a chance to continue to make high contact, and now he gets a chance to possibly hear his name taken in the first round.
And if he does, he'll be the first Longhorn to be taken in the first round since Ty Madden in 2021. So that will be huge for Texas. But let's jump down to the third round, because that is where we think we're going to hear Ruger Riojas' name.
Yep.
Hardge, for me, Ruger is interesting because of the durability aspect of this. This is a guy who has struggled the past 2 seasons. At the end of the season, whether it's due to illness, soreness, injury, can he play through an entire MLB season? And then how much are scouts really weighing that?
I think for sure he'll be able to do that, because the wear and tear of his body will be a little bit different. The times in between pitching might be a little bit different. But to me, I think he's going to be even stronger coming out of the bullpen, because he's had that ability to stretch out, be a starter, but he's done both roles, and his effectiveness to throw the ball from so many different angles. I think at one point he said he had like 9 pitches. Don't understand that.
Yeah, that one was shocking.
Yeah, but his ability to throw strikes is something that major league clubs are definitely looking at. And he's got a lot of experience. So for me, I think he's going to be just fine whenever his name is called in the Major League Draft.
Yeah, and he will be an interesting character, too, to add to any roster. We always call him the most interesting man in college baseball. He's also been called the freakest of all freaks.
Yes,
So let's go down to another freak, if you will. Carson Tenney is going to be, right now, projected to be taken about 10 spots below Ruger, still in the third round. For a catcher to transition to the MLB, Hardge, if you're a scout, what do you value more, play behind the plate or play at the plate?
Well, I like a little bit of it both, but what we've got a chance to see from him this year, if you're looking at him at the plate, you got to see a lot of plate discipline from a catcher, where most of the time those guys are up there just to hack and do all these other things. But he, with great eye, great patience at the plate, and then as the season went on, he decided, well, I'm gonna show y'all the power that I have, and he came up in a bunch of clutch situations and displayed that. But behind the plate, I definitely think the way he's able to throw the ball and receive the ball, they're going to work on a lot of that. But he's been quick behind the plate. I think he's one of the better catchers in the country, which is why he was up for the Buster Posey Award multiple times. And he is somebody that, if I'm a professional team, I'm looking at my future, and I definitely want him to be a part of it.
Bright futures for Carson Tenney, for Aiden Robbins, for Ruger Riojas, and a number of other Longhorns. But out of those 3, who do you think has the highest ceiling?
Well, if I had to pick, I think it would probably be Carson Tenney, believe it or not, because being a catcher, being able to control the game, being able to control the running game as well, and being able to evaluate and get to that point where all the pitchers trust you and you'll be one of those guys that's an everyday guy, I think he's going to be great. And again, his plate discipline is going to put him in a position to be able to be a guy in the lineup that they can trust in those big moments.
Okay, that's highest ceiling. I have another one for you. Obviously, it takes a while for these guys to get up to the bigs. Yeah. You know that. Who do you think is going to make it there first?
If you had to look at it right now, you would possibly look at, I would go Carson Tenney again.
Oh, okay.
I would go Carson Tenney again because look across Major League Baseball and look at the catcher position. If you can catch and throw, you're going to get a quicker opportunity. And if you can control the controllables, you'll get that opportunity. So for me, I'm looking at Carson Tenney to be the one that could possibly get there first.
That's a tough question to answer, too, because so much of it is going to hinge on what organization takes them, the farm system that they put themselves in. But those are our guys that have actually played at Texas, now transitioning to the MLB. But Hardge, we got some high school guys who are committed to Texas. I'm not so sure they're going to make it to Texas. Grady Emerson is committed to Texas, but he is expected to go number 2 overall, if not first overall pick. Bo Peterson is another name in those first couple of rounds. You were drafted out of high school. So as a high schooler now, when you have the money that the MLB can offer you, but then NIL in college, how do you weigh the decision of whether to go to college or go straight to the pros?
Well, you start to look at Major League Baseball and the changes and the possible lockout and everything else that goes along with that. And you mentioned it, the NIL opportunity. I always tell people ask me all the time, what would you have done different? And I was like, well, if the NIL would have been there when I was coming out of school legally, you would have been able to see a lot of good baseball players that got drafted high possibly go to college because you never get that college experience back. You got a chance to go to college, you know what that means. But for those guys that go straight into it, it's a little bit different. Now the way of the game has changed and the thought processes of it all. I think it definitely weighs on these younger players, and they will have big decisions to make. But some of those numbers, I don't think any college is going to be able to make up for that with what is going on with Major League Baseball. If you can get the money now, get it.
Yeah, you talk about the changes, too. It's worth mentioning the MLB is thinking about just taking out high schoolers in the draft altogether. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think that the MLB is going to do, and what do you think they should do?
Well, as someone who came out of high school, I'm a little biased to the situation. But if you start to look at where the draft is and some of these other players, you look at a Bobby Witt Jr. He was a guy that came out of high school. You look at Chipper Jones, the #1 overall pick in the draft and a Hall of Famer. He too came out of high school. But then you have those other stories of guys that came out of high school early and didn't get that opportunity to play in the big leagues. So there's a lot of different variables that go into it. But to me, if they're going to do that, they need to do it now and not wait any longer, because there's kids that are in their mind, it's their way out of certain situations too. And they've been working their entire life to get to this moment. So college baseball will be a lot better. There will be some competition that a lot of folks haven't seen in a long time in this era. But I'm not for the kids not being able to be drafted. I think there should be some stipulations. If you're going to make it like basketball, where you can be a one and done if you go to a certain school. Because most of the time, look at it now, most kids are one and done because they'll come play at your school for 1 year and go to another one the next year. So why are we even having this fight? So Major League Baseball, I will put this out there, Major League Baseball's union is the strongest union that is out there. So it'll be tough. It's going to be a tough fight for them.
So much of it, I think, is personality-based, too. I had a chance to meet and talk to Grady Emerson last year when he was playing at Dell Diamond. There are a lot of kids in high school that when I meet them and they're thinking about going to the MLB, I'm like, that's going to be tough for you to be in a locker room with grown men. But there are guys like, I think Grady's the perfect example. You meet him, he does not seem like a high schooler.
Very
and then
mature.
When you watch him play, does not seem like a high schooler. We've talked about a bunch of guys that are going to be heading to the pros. Carson Tenney, Aiden Robbins. If we want to look at pitching, you're going to lose Luke Harrison, Brook Riojas. Hardge, who are some transfers coming in that you are extra excited to see?
Well, the young man from Texas Tech is going to be able to come in and possibly move over to third base or second base, depending on what happens with Mendoza.
Yeah,
He's
true.
another guy that is still waiting in the balance to see what he decides. But then you got to look at the catcher position. Who is going to be that young man to step up in the catcher's position? So the moves that Texas are making is setting himself up to have success. You know, there's been a lot of changes on the 40 acres, and guys are trying to find their way, but they're getting it done. So for me, when you start to look at it, I think this team is going to be better by some of the moves that they made in the transfer portal. Look at what they did last year. They had a lot of success with their moves, and now they're going to try to duplicate that this year.
Yeah, and the guys Hardge is talking about is Lincoln Garcia from Texas Tech, and then Ian Armstrong from St. Mary's, a catcher who I think will have a lot of upside. He was hitting just below 400, 16 homers on the year. You get him with Troy Tulowitzki, you know that those numbers are about to go up.
Absolutely.
When the MLB draft gets underway on July 11th, we will be tracking all of that here on KVU. But for now, thanks for watching.